The International Association for Near-Death Studies presents NDE Radio, a weekly exploration of near-death experiences and similar encounters with the other side. Now, here's your host, Lee Whitting.
Many consider an out-of-body experience, what we call an OBE, to be a special gift from God. But what if you could leave your body at will and travel about on the other side of the curtain? Is such an ability a rare talent, or can anyone learn to do it? And what are the spiritual consequences of traveling through the spirit world before our death? Welcome to NDE Radio, brought to you by the International Association for Near-Death Studies. I'm your host, Lee Whitting. Every NDE begins with an OBE, an out-of-body experience. Before we can traverse the tunnel and go into the light, our soul or consciousness must leave our physical body, let go of our brain's perceptions of reality, and see this physical plane with spirit energy eyes. Our guest today is Admir Serrano, a researcher, writer, and lecturer on paranormal phenomena such as OBEs, NDEs, deathbed visions, after-death communications, reincarnation, mediumship, and afterlife. Mr. Serrano is the author of a new book titled The End of Death, How Near-Death Experiences Prove the Afterlife, and an upcoming manual, Out and About, How to Have Conscious Out-of-Body Experiences. Admir, welcome to NDE Radio.
Thank you, Lee. Good morning, and to our listeners. It is a pleasure to be here to discuss with you all about our immortality.
Great. That's great. We're looking forward to it. Before we begin, Admir, I'd like to read a passage from beginning on page 15 of your book about how you describe the feeling of leaving your body. And this is a chapter titled The Perks of Being Free. Clearing my mind of mundane thoughts, I concentrated on relaxing, mentally suggesting that every part of my body relax. My objective was to induce the vibrational state to facilitate the exit of the spirit body. This internal vibration feels like a generalized tingling throughout the body, as though you are receiving a mild electric shock, but devoid of pain. And then you go on a little further. When the vibration peaks, the spirit body begins to withdraw, normally from the extremities, toes, feet, legs, and so on. It rolls up like a snowball, accumulating energy and moving upwards. As vital energy is removed from a certain part of the body, coldness and catalepsy or muscular rigidity sets in. Breathing and heartbeat rates also begin to diminish. And when this process ends, the entire body becomes cataleptic and cold, and all the energy accumulates in the head. There is no pain or discomfort, but you might get scared if you're not familiar with it. You feel a sort of pressure in your head and may hear a buzzing sound, sometimes voices, laughs, music, or your name being called. At the height of the pressure, you sense that something wants to eject through your head, but you remain conscious and capable of thinking, reasoning, making decisions, and so on. As long as your consciousness remains physically focused, you are aware of your body even though it's cold and cataleptic. You can also sense your physical environment, your bed, your room. The longest part of inducing a conscious OBE is establishing the vibrational state, which can take a few minutes or a few hours if you have the patience. But the rest is fast, a matter of minutes or seconds even. I thought that was a wonderful description, Admir, of how people are going through the process of actually leaving their body. And you titled that chapter The Perks of Being Free. And I thought maybe you could tell our audience what you mean by that.
Well, because we are free spirit, and what's happening to us right now is that we are experiencing human life, we experience the physical life. So our essence, our true nature is spiritual. We are spirit, and we have this spirit body when we are free of the physical body. So we are in physical life, just temporarily using the physical body, and the physical body, because of its nature, it doesn't give us all the freedom that we really, indeed, we have as a spirit, but we can experience that during out-of-body experiences, and in the cases of near-death experiences, that's what I mean, the freedom that we have as a spirit and that we will have when we leave physical life.
Mm-hmm. And you suggest in your book that this is not an uncommon thing for people to experience, and that, in fact, in many of our dream states, we are actually out of our body.
Yeah, it's very common. And also the feelings that I described in the book, like the catalepsy, the tingling, the vibration, the rigidness of the body. A lot of people, and I'm sure that many of our listeners, they have experienced this. So it is something that happens normally, and it is associated with us as a spirit live in the physical body. But not everybody has that awareness. So the idea, or my idea, the work I do, my lectures, the books, is to bring that awareness to everybody, so that we know that we are conscious when we are out of our body, and we can enjoy it more.
Do you think that if more and more people develop this ability, that we will have a more spiritually aware population? In other words, will people tend to grow, mature spiritually from having such an experience?
I truly believe it, because the thing is that our incredulity about our immortality is because we're too concentrated many times, too stuck in physical life, and we don't give proper attention to the spirit side, or the spirit, that the beings that we truly are. And when we have this out-of-body experience, for instance, we know, if we are aware, conscious, we know that we are more than we think we are, more than physical beings, that we have this spirit body, that we can leave the physical body, that we can also live a more freedom, more aware life, even if we're not in the physical body or in the physical environment. And we see a lot of that during near-death experience, which is a more, let's say, more complete, more free type out-of-body experience, because of the body is almost dead in many cases, clinically dead. So I'm sure that when we have this knowledge, that you know that you have a spirit body, you know that you're much more than the physical body that we carry around. I'm pretty sure that will change the way we live, and give us a more meaning to our lives.
Mm. Now, when people have had near-death experiences, I'm thinking in particular of people who are blind and may have been blind since birth. If they have an OBE, can they see in their spirit body?
Well, the OBE per se, there's not enough research on people, the visually impaired people having out-of-body experience. There's not enough research on that, and that would be something that would be great. What Dr. Kenneth Ring did on experiments, on his research, was the visually impaired having a near-death experience. In the near-death experience of the blind that he researched, most of them, and he had quite a few number, most of them saw when they were out of their bodies, and something that they couldn't do when they were in the physical body, because the physical eyes were impaired. But once they were free of the physical body and of the impairment, then they're seeing, like seeing with the soul's eyes, then they could see. But it's a great point to be if someone out there, or scientists listening to us, take on research on out-of-body experiences of the visually impaired, and that would be great.
I noticed in your in the manual that you're about to publish, called Up and Coming, that you mentioned the Rhine Institute is about to go back to doing more research on OBEs. The International Association for Near-Death Studies, which is the sponsor of this program, shares common space with Rhine in Durham, North Carolina, and so if they're working on that sort of thing there in this new year, I'm sure we'll be very interested in finding out what they have to say. I had another thought. You're a member of the Rhine Institute, yes?
Yeah, of course. I'm associated with them. I am a member, and I follow their work, and I use a lot of their material for my research.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard exactly what they plan to be doing with OBEs in this coming year?
Not exactly, because it was just a brief mention. I did contact them, and I'm waiting for a reply, because I'd love to participate in that research, because it interested me a lot. But they were pioneers. They did a great job in the 70s. They did a lot of research with Keith Harry, with Ingo Swann, and some others. They were good, and now I'm glad that they're coming back and doing more research on that, because I'm pretty sure NDE to me is proof enough of our immortality, and OBE as well, because I experienced that, and I am sure that I'm not just a physical body, and I'm pretty sure that our listeners, many have had experiences like that too, out-of-body experiences, and they also have come to this conclusion.
Yes, it occurred to me while I was reading the Out and About that's about to be published. Wouldn't this be a great thing for people who are trapped either by a handicapped body, or they're stuck in a wheelchair, or perhaps prisoners in a prison, for them to be able to do this at will? The experience of freedom would be so much more important to someone who is very limited in what they can do in their physical bodies.
Definitely. I have an example when I and OBE research, OBE in the lab in my book. Ed Morel was a prisoner in San Quentin. He went to prison in the late 1800s, and he was in prison for several years, and most of the years in solitary. And at that time, it was the San Quentin was a horrible prison, and he spent most of his days in a straitjacket because he was a rebel. But not he wanted to change the system, and he was already every time once in a while they put him in the straitjacket, and it was very punish a lot of pain and stuff. And so he learned to leave his body at will. And while the body was there, straitjacket in a dungeon in San Quentin, he was flying around in the Bay, San Francisco Bay, and he even saw an accident, a boat that sank. He saw a device there in that boat. When he came out of prison, he patented that device, and today that's his name. It's a life-saving device that he patented. He saw it working while he was out of body.
So did he travel through time? Was he looking at something in the future when he was looking at a device that he himself had invented?
No. He saw the accident happening.
I see.
Yeah. And there was he saw that, and apparently he wasn't patented before, so he did when he came out of prison.
Okay, so then he saw the accident in real time and held on to the idea of this life-saving device and then patented it.
Yes, that's right. And he is the character that Jack London used. He was a friend of Jack London's, and he used to write his Star Rove novel. That was very successful in the early 1900s.
Yes. On a slightly different topic, Admir, tell the audience about the silver umbilical cord that you describe in your book.
Yeah, so we are all energy, right? Our physical body is energy, our spirit body is energy. Energy is all around us. So there's this connection. So this is, I believe in reincarnation, and I believe that the spirit body that lives independently of the physical body. When we take on a physical body, there's this energetic connection. And so we are in the spirit, our spirit body, our spirit energy at this moment is connected with the physical body. When we leave the physical body at night in an out-of-body experiences or in a near-death experience, there's still this energetic connection with the physical body that it's only going to break when the physical body dies. So this is a connection that keeps us together with the physical body while the physical body is healthy. And but when the physical body ends, when we end our work on earth, then the physical body will die, then there's the severance of the cord. But while the physical body is healthy, there's still this connection between the two bodies, which keep us like integrated with the physical body. And it's similar to the umbilical cord when the mother feeds the baby so that the fetus, so that the fetus grows.
So it's really the spiritual body that's feeding the physical body rather than the other way around.
That's right, yeah. But there's of course, since we are together, whatever we do physically affects our spirit body or our consciousness, and the physical body, the energy that we have. The physical body, the spirit body is what gives us motion in the power of thought. So what I'm thinking here, our interconnection right now, our exchange, it's coming through our mouths, and I hear it through my ears because we are physically focused at this moment. But all the power, this power of hearing, the power of seeing, the power of thinking, it's all part of our spirit body. And what we're doing is we're functioning like we are transmitting. So the physical body will be a transmitter. That's why when we have the out-of-body experiences or near-death experiences, that we leave the physical body, our consciousness, and all the feelings, our thinking, our abilities, our motion, everything goes in the spirit body, and the physical body stays there, cataleptic in that case, or in a coma in many cases, like a near-death experience.
One of the things that I've always wondered about is how when the spiritual body or the soul returns to the physical body, and we communicate. Say we tell a friend what we've seen and what we've experienced, that's working through our brain. Now, how does the consciousness that travels outside of our body communicate the information that it sees back into the brain for us to be able to utilize it?
Well, there's we go out, right? So this happens in my experiences, and I'm pretty sure that our listeners who are familiar with the out-of-body experience or who have had an out-of-body experiences or who have had a near-death experiences is familiar with that. So when I'm out of body, for instance, in my case, and I see things, I see environment, could be a physical environment, could be my physical body. I could also go, in a physical place as I've done, like in Sao Paulo to visit my sister, or in another experience, several others. Or if I go into the spirit realm to do something, to learn or do some work, all that I have all that information, and I see all those, I observe, and I have that power of remembering what I see. And when I return to my body, I bring that experience or the knowledge or the memory of that experience into my physical body and into my physical brain. So they are something like somehow connected. Like if you have a television set, you're shooting images in it while it is turned on. But once it's turned off, it's not there anymore. But we have all the experience, the memories in our mental body.
Okay. I think the TV is a good analogy for what I was talking about. Now, in your book, you mentioned traveling outside of your body and seeing spirits that had no cord, and they identified themselves as spirits that had died. So, if you're out of your body, are you encountering ghosts in effect?
Well, most definitely, but not ghosts. We call it ghosts, but we are surrounded by what we say, the afterlife, where is afterlife, heaven, or this other side of reality. It's all around us. It's not in another place. It's all around us, a different type of vibration. And so we are commingling. We have exchange with the spirit. And mediums, for instance, who have the ability to see or have a better vision, even when they're in the physical body, they can see ghosts or what we call spirits, like around, in our living room. But what we say ghosts is just spirits like us, but who are not manifesting in the physical life right now. So when we leave our physical body and we are vibrating the same subtle vibration as the other spirit bodies of our relative, for instance, could be our children who passed away, or mother, or whoever, that they're functioning without a physical body. But we are out of the body, so we are in the same tune, the same vibration. We can see, communicate with them, and they're just as solid as we are here physically.
Now, are these spirits that have not gone into the light, are they just hanging around the earthly plane for a reason?
Oh, no, not necessarily. Because the spirit world is around us. So within where we are in our living room, for instance, there may be a realm, not necessarily a bad one that, spirits that are earthbound, but is one level of the non-physical reality. Just like in the city. In the city, you have within the same space, you have, different places. You have college, a college campus. You have a commercial zone, a commercial area. You have a residential area. They're all within the same space. So the spirit world is something like that too. But we do have the earthbound spirits. They're mostly who are hanging. They're not aware. Most of the cases, they're not aware that they're dead. So they're living. They stay in their houses, many places, or this place that we call haunted, for instance, because they don't know that they're dead. They still think they're physically in a physical life.
So if you travel out of body and you meet a spirit like that, can you tell them that they're dead? Can you move them along the path they should travel toward the light? Yeah,
if they notice you, they do. And we have when we are aware that when we know how to leave our physical bodies, because we function, we work in both realms. Here, when we're physically doing our things, and when out of body, we do other jobs. So I have, one of my works out of body is to instruct some spirits that they're no longer in the physical life, and that sometimes they're in their house haunting. They're not haunting the family pretty much, because they stay there and they're unnoticed, because the physically living are vibrating in another dimension. They don't notice him. So it is the dead person or the spirit who is suffering the most, because he tries to communicate with their loved ones, but they can be heard or seen. So one of my jobs, I had several opportunities, and it was great. It was to bring that awareness to them. Listen, you're not in physical life anymore. You got to move on. And sometimes you succeed, and sometimes they just stay there until one time they realize and they move on.
So people could conceivably be trapped on the earthly plane in their spirit bodies for hundreds of years.
Most definitely. And we see cases of haunted castles at those old places. But generally, they may be if you have a chance to see if you have seen a movie The Others, there's a family trapped in their house, thinking they're the three, it's a mother and two children, and they all dead, physically dead, and they live in this house, the same house that they're living, and physical people move in, the physical living, they think that the other ones are the ghosts. To them, nothing happened. They're still there, living their lives. Now, obviously there are differences that they notice, but they keep going unaware of the change that death caused. Because death it's not a wall, it's a door, it's a change from one type of living and physical living to a non-physical way of life. It's just a change.
Yes. You point out in your book that children have a stronger ability to see through the curtain to the other side than adults do. And I thought maybe you could tell the audience a little about that story of the little boy and Paulino.
Paulino, right.
Yeah.
This is something, that was incredible. That was incredible. And I'm pretty sure that many of our listeners have seen that. And I have had that in my house, and I mentioned in the book, my daughter, my little daughter, and also my older daughter, who used to see me hanging out of my body in her room when she got scared to death. And to a point, there was a time that she came to me and woke me up because I was scaring her. So children have this ability to see on the other side of the curtain, as you said. And many of the imaginary children, some are imaginary friends that children have, some are imaginaries, and some are not, because they're indeed seeing that, because they're not entirely, children are not entirely integrated in physical life until like 7 or 8 years of age. And if you see the brain waves, for instance, they are in alpha until like 7 or 8 years, not the beta waves like of an adult. So that's why they have, in the alpha waves are the waves that people are, when they go in trance or in a hypnotic trance, they go into that. So that allows them to see like more psychic. So it gives accuracy to their psychic vision. So the Paulinho, the boy, that's many cases. So he was playing with this friend that he called Paulinho, and he had a great time every time that Paulinho came around. And then his mother asked him, "Who are you playing with?" "I'm playing with Paulinho." "Do you know Paulinho?" He was so, to him, he saw it, and he thought that the mother saw him too. And the mother said, "No, I don't know who Paulinho is." So one day they were showing the family album, and the mother came to a picture and said, "This was your grandfather. He died before you were born." And the boy jumped out of the chair. He said, "This is Paulinho, and you told me that you don't know him."
So it was his grandfather that was his special friend, his invisible friend.
Yes, because Lee, and this is something that is beautiful about life. Love never dies. So we're bound by love, and we are a huge spiritual family. All the people, especially the people that are very close to us, our mother, our dear uncles, our fathers, and all these people, they are already part of this huge spiritual family. And what we do is when we pass away and when leave a physical life, we just leave the sight of the people who are physically living. But we are around, and we're going to protect. So the ties of love never break, and we're going to be around. We're going to be protecting them also, because it's the same love, but in a different, same care that we're going to take of them, but in a different level. So we're going to be around. We're never alone. We're and our guardian angels, many that we call, are our parents, our mothers, loved ones, like Paulinho was to his grandson.
Yes. Well, Amir, we're just about out of time. Tell us, when is the Out and About manual going to be published?
Yes, actually, it's already on Amazon, and it's going to be available this week. But if you go to Amazon, it's already there. And we, as you know, we have a lot more to talk about, but not enough time. So
I know it.
I have a website that there's more information, and it's my name and last name, admirserrano.com. And also I have an option there for our listeners to share their experience. I love to hear from them, from their out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences, or the invisible, the imaginary friends experience, everything that they would like to share with us would be lovely.
Very good. So I'll spell your name. It's AdmirSerrano.com.
That's correct.
And it's just one word?
Just one word. www.admirserrano.com.
That's great. And we'll have to have you back again. Half an hour is just not nearly long enough to discuss all of the...
not enough to warm up evenly.
All right. Well, thank you, Amir, for joining us on NDE Radio today. If you'd like to listen to, you folks out there would like to listen to this or any of our past programs again, you'll find them archived at nderadio.org. And for more information on NDEs and IANS, the International Association for Near-Death Studies, go to our website, iands.org. And this is Lee Whitting. Thanks for listening.